Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if we just stop using oil and like natural gas and all of these fossil fuels that are the devil, how long would it take for society to break down, and how many people will perish because of that? Ladies and gentlemen, I keep asking you to like the video and share it, let an ad or two run through so that the YouTube algorithm will favor me once more. And I understand, I keep picking topics that aren't really favorable to these big institutions, but we have to talk about these things because it's important that people educate themselves. Instead of thinking that oil and natural gas and fossil fuels is the devil, ladies and gentlemen, that it's the end of all of us, you need to take a look at what would happen if it just disappeared tomorrow. How would society do if it was up to those people that say we should just get rid of fossil fuels? If we just stop oil, 6 billion people will cease to exist. They will no longer be here. We have to understand that oil is energy, and energy is what we need in order to live. Oil is energy that is transferred into the things that we need in order to live the standard of living that we live today. As always, I will leave the link to this so that you can take a look at it on your own if you'd like. But I would like this to be a great thought experiment for you to leave your comments below on what other things that are not covered here do you think would change if oil were to just go away, like some people say it should. And here they explain that on the very first day of an oil and gas free world, as the members of Just Stop Oil envision, all homes, businesses, and other structures that rely on either or both of these for light, heat, fuel, or what have you would no longer function. Have the people that want to get rid of oil really thought about how are people like me that live in cold areas going to be able to heat their homes in the winter? We would have to go back to wood heat, but will that be progress? I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen. I think that the systems that we have now work very well. And the problem is that we have a lot of people who sit atop of their ivory towers trying to think about how they can control humanity while they do the exact same thing that they tell us not to do. It's called projection for a reason. Now, this is a very short explanation of what may happen, but after this, I have something to show you. That way you can realize that while you're typing away on your computer or on your phones or tablets saying how bad oil is, that those same things that you're using to convey your disdain for oil or natural gas are the things that are used to make those same products. In the UK, where gas stocks held above ground are typically not that high, gas distribution would cease to occur within 10 to 15 days to a lack of pressure. And here they're talking about what if oil is gone today or gas is gone today. This is what would happen. They picked the UK as one place to show what would happen in that area should this occur. This would mean in turn that the domestic supply would be shut down too. One UK-based media outlet reported gas would stop flowing and some 21 million households, which is 74% of the population, would no longer have heating, hot water, and cooking facilities. Is this really what you want when you're pasting or gluing your hands to the concrete, ladies and gentlemen? Is this really what you want to happen when you find yourselves in an art gallery throwing paint or tomato soup at art that somebody worked very hard to create? As people produce, some people have no problem with destroying. And that's what this movement is about. It's about destroying, not preserving. I apologize to those of you that maybe don't care for my commentary, but I can't help it. This is just the way that it is. In their panic, people might turn to electricity for their cooking and heating, but wait, the UK electricity grid relies on natural gas as its buffer energy source. So if there's no oil, there's no gas, then what, ladies and gentlemen? Every day, demand varies according to consumer demand. And on the other main energy supplier, renewables are highly variable and can only power the grid when gas is picking up the lion's share of the gap between their output and consumer demand. Meaning what? It's what I've said for a long time now. I'm not against solar panels. I'm not against windmills. I think that alternative energies, or green energies as they're called, are a good complement to what we have now. But before we just turn from one system to the other, we have to make sure that the system that we want to go to works 100% before we shut down the one that we've relied on for decades, if not for more than a century now. Now, this is only in the UK that they're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Multiply these effects around the world and you can see how quickly life, as we currently know it, would end almost instantly. Millions upon millions would cease to exist the first few weeks. I think it would be probably hundreds of millions, depending what time of the year it is. All right. If you're living in the winter time and this happens, you're going to have a rough time, ladies and gentlemen, unless you are prepared for something like that to happen. And then they say that after the first week, it would be followed by billions more as the rest of the world and its oil and gas-based systems collapse. And using the UK once again as an example, if Just Stop Oil gets its way, the entire UK would lose power and energy it needs to continue to exist, eventually leaving it destroyed and humanless. Do they know that this is what their pipe dream actually entail once it's activated? I don't think that they do. As I've stated before, these people, with all due respect, are useful idiots. And what does that mean? It means that their gullible young bodies and minds are being used by people that are manipulating them into thinking that the world is going to end tomorrow if we don't get rid of oil today. These are all of the things that are made from oil and natural gas. Can you spot something maybe that you use on an everyday basis, ladies and gentlemen? Toothbrush, a pair of goggles, safety goggles, lipstick if you use lipstick, airplane parts. Without oil or gas, we would have no airplane parts, nor would we have the fuel to be able to fly in the airplane. Contact lenses, a coat, a washing machine or a dryer, a helmet, Crayolas, that computer that you use to communicate with Mr. and Mrs. Activist is made by using oil, either to make the components or to power the machinery or industry that actually make the computer, or both. Smartphones, gloves. I don't know what this is right here, but it looks like it's got some kind of plastic. Look at that. Are you thinking about when you get old, Mr. and Mrs. Activist, that you may need some dentures? Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. I almost missed this, and it's right here in plain sight. Oil is needed in order to make windmills. How are we going to make them if there's no oil available? Everything that you use in everyday life takes oil and gas, i.e. energy, in order to make. All of the difficulties that our predecessors had when they were building this world that we now live in, now that we've overcome that, now that we have air conditioning, now that we have infrastructure to get rid of waste, now that we have transportation where the world is very small and you can find yourself anywhere, anytime, now that we have all that stuff, we now have the ability and the time to be able to criticize how we got all this stuff, not knowing how difficult it would be to go back 150 to 200 years in time and try to live the way that they lived back then. Our ancestors carved out for us a world that we can live in pretty comfortably. And what we want to do is just throw all of that away because some people don't know any better to do their own research, more than likely because they just haven't been taught. Because a lot of these fanatics are younger people. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to help out, make sure that you give this video a like, leave a comment, share it. If you could, let an ad or two run through. Donate 15 to 30 seconds of your time so that hopefully the YouTube algorithm will pick me back up and stop being so stingy with its recommendations. It's not really aggravating because it is what it is, right? But I was taking a look at my analytics, which is not something that I did very often before they started doing this. But I've noticed that my videos, my new videos, are barely being recommended to any of you, my regular subscribers. So click on the bell so you can be notified, but almost all of the views that I'm getting are from new viewers, but my videos are very rarely being recommended to my current subscribers. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, I do appreciate you stopping by and checking out my videos. Thank you very much. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.